Likutei Moharan. So beforehand, anybody learn Likutei Moharan?
I do Likutei Moharan.
I'm sorry?
Do with my son, the kids.
The kids are Likutei Moharan. Anybody else over there? I want to know who's, because I would like to give an introduction. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Nachman Fried. I'm named after Reb Nachman ben Fega. My father was a Breslov Chassid when it was not in fashion to be a Breslov Chassid, when we were a real minority.
So you was a real one?
He wanted to be a real one. And, but the one thing that he gave, this is my brother, by the way, Shemi Fried, a younger brother, and he's obviously younger because he's Schwarz and I'm still, I'm a Veit. But he gave us something, even though we didn't know what we had, what a treasure we had in our backyard, but he gave us an emunah in it. And but growing up, I grew up in Club Breslov. You know Club Breslov, Club Ger, Club Satmar, Club Litvish. There's a club, a beautiful club, and everybody, it's all tzinoros for one thing, to be able to serve the Eibishter. So I was part of my Club Breslov. And when I grew up, Breslov was very, very, Reb Nachman was very not accepted. Even the Chassidim that held that Reb Nachman was a big tzaddik. First of all, Reb Nosson, they Zicher, was not accepted. He was a fanatic, and wasn't accepted. And even what was accepted in positive, it's too much. It's too big. It's too high. This is avoidance, going to the feld, screaming, tata, tata. All the avoidance of Breslov was not like today, for sure not. And in yeshiva, when I grew up in yeshiva, I was made fun of. I even had a Rebbe that didn't want to call me by my name because he knew I was named after Reb Nachman. He said, maybe you have another name? And I do. And he called me a whole year by that name. And then years later, I met him and he apologized because he didn't know. There was a tzimtzum. It was not the Rebbe's When I say the Rebbe, by the way, I always mean Reb Nachman. I can't help myself. I really should be saying Rabbeinu, because he's not just my Rebbe, he's everybody's Rebbe, the world's Rebbe. And Breslov is only one version of Reb Nachman, maybe the best version, but it's only one version, because the Rebbe didn't care if you are a Ger Chassid, if you're a Litvisher. He didn't care what uniform you have. He didn't care. He cared about one thing. And the whole Likutei Moharan is about getting closer. You're here? No, I thought you text me from here or from Eretz Yisrael? You weren't in Eretz Yisrael? I didn't know that. Okay. So, learning, it's not about belonging, because we all belong as Klal Yisrael. We all belong to Rabbi Yisrael. So, even if you have this tzina, Likutei Moharan is prescriptions to our life's challenges. And many, many people have told me that they tried learning Likutei Moharan. You open up the Sefer, and the Rebbe starts off with concepts that seem to be foreign concepts, sometimes Kabbalistic concepts. But the first platform that you need to know before, when you open the Sefer Likutei Moharan, is that there's one tafkid in this whole Sefer. The tafkid is to bring us closer to Hashem, closer to ourselves, which is our chelik alikay mimal, and he understood all the challenges that we're going through in today's day, which is fascinating because he lived 210 years ago, 204 to 215 years ago, and he died at a very young age. He was 38 and a half years old. And he lived in a village. We went to Breslov. Whoever traveled saw, Monticello is bigger than Breslov. He lived in a tiny little village, and he had at the height, the biggest Rosh Hashanah was the last Rosh Hashanah of his life, and at the height he had, they said 1,000, and I heard from many Breslov Chassidim that it was a guzma, it was an exaggeration. It was really about 700 people, and yet, from this 38-year-old in the middle of Timbuktu, such a power that's living today with no structure, real structure. There's no real structure except the only real structure there is a sefer. That's the real structure. So there's another thing that I want to share is that, many people know about Oman and Rosh Hashanah, and whether it's during the year, thousands, hundreds of thousands, probably over the last 30 years since it opened up, millions, maybe people that were repetitive, but millions of people went to his kever based, and think about it, going to his kever is not an easy, today for sure not, it's not an easy trip. It's expensive, and all for what? Because he gave a haftacha that no one else gave, and he said that if you come to my cave and you say the 10 kapit l'chdilim, the words that he said is, I will put myself in Yiddish, ich has gelegen in the leng and in the breadth. I'll put myself in the length and the width. We don't know exactly what that means, but by the payes I'm going to do everything I can for this person to take him out of Shol Tachtios umitachto. I don't know if anybody knows what Shol Tachtios is, but Sha'oil means a bottomless pit. That's what Sha'oil. So I don't know what Sha'oil means, but mitachtov sounds like a very, very low place that people could fall chas v'shalom into. And he said, and I'll take you out of there also. And there's many stories we can talk about Reb Nachman. I just want to give it more as an introduction into Likutei Moharan, that we should know who we're talking about here. And when you learn, my father alav shalom said that how you magdir Likutei Moharan into one word. There's so many different ideas. There's so many different concepts. How you magdir Likutei Moharan in one word? And he said tzaddik. The concept of tzaddik. And the concept that the tzaddik, Moshe Rabbeinu, let's take the tzaddik that every undisputed, and the only time that in history that there was, I shouldn't say that because Yeshua, but the tzaddik that was accepted by Gans Klal Yisrael, and even he had machlekes on him, Koirach and Dosam Aviron, he went through challenges of it, but still it was accepted by Gans Klal Yisrael. Moshe Rabbeinu was the tzaddik that im ayin mechenina. If not, if the Moshe says no problem, b'cha, I'm going to make you into a big nation. We'll wipe out Klal Yisrael. We'll restart, control, all delete. And yet, Moshe Rabbeinu said no. If not for Klal Yisrael, I have mechenina mesifrecha. I don't want it. There's no me if there's no Klal Yisrael. The tzaddik takes a responsibility, and this tzaddik took special responsibility of every single yid, befrat in our generation, which is mamish ikvus de Mashiach. So the reason why I'm saying this is, first of all, to know that when you're learning the sefer, even if you belong to a different club, or you're not, you're just checking it out. Let me hear what Reb Nachman has to say. I'm here because let me hear what Reb Nachman has to say. In the time that you're learning, it's a suggestion. In that time, surrender to this tzaddik. And once you surrender to this tzaddik for the moment, and right afterwards, close the sefer and say, no problem, I'm back to where I was, it's going to make a very big impact on your life. There's no way that it's not going to make an impact. It's not possible. It's not possible not to make an impact on your life, because he talks to you. He talks to you and he sees you. And it's not like he says something global that's relevant to every single person. That's how it looks like. But when you really go into the Torah, you see that he's mamish talking directly to you. And I'll tell you a story that happened. So I started a couple of years ago. I started a shtickle mahalach of learning Likutei Moharan Be'ir. I learned in Litvish yeshivas, and I applied this way a little bit into the way of learning Likutei Moharan, but not because I also want to be fascinated by the geoinus and the genius and the way he builds everything. It's fascinating, and how it's pnimis HaTorah. It's pnimis HaTorah that's mamish. It blows your mind, and it stimulates your heart, and it's something unique. It's something very, very unique. But besides all of that, there is messages and eitzes, and that's really what. And you can only get to those eitzes and those messages when you challenge him, when you start asking questions. Not chashom, I'm challenging you because wer sagt. I'm challenging you, du sagst, but I want to understand was sagst du. What are you saying? So this is pretty much the only requirement that you need. I know there's Chai Klalim, and we could talk about it. And by the way, I just want to say that I'm here by request. Just I guess they didn't have anybody else. I'm not. So, but I'm saying this. I'm talking from my heart, and I'm telling you that if the Rebbe could change me, he could change anybody. And believe me, I have friends that could vouch for what I'm saying here. If the Rebbe could change me, because I didn't identify with the Rebbe that his Torah. I'll tell you, Nachman. I went as a Bresel Chassid. You go to Oman. I'm the Baruch Hashem Zeicha to go 36 consecutive years for Rosh Hashanah to Oman. I went multiple times during the year, probably over 100 times. But I didn't go with. I went with. I want to do tshuva, and who doesn't want to do tshuva? And I want to go to a tzaddik that gave such a haftacha, and I know that I belong to this. I must be part of his. But I didn't surrender to being. The Rebbe gave a haftacha that he's going to take us out of Shol Tachtis or Mitachtov. I didn't chap that I thought Shol Tachtis Mitachtov is in the next world. I didn't chap that he's taking out of Shol Tachtis and Mitachtov in this world. You understand what I'm saying? He's giving you remedies that you were miyayish on yourself, and you said, okay, I'm content with my connection to the Eibishter. I can't do more. I can't. This is what I can do. So I'm doing the best, and it's beautiful. But and he gives you so much chizik on what you did and what you do, even every Eid. But he also at the same time gives you a path and a new desire. He awakens a new desire in you to want to do more. But then you're challenged because you say, but I can't, and I tried 10 times and I failed. And okay, I got to be content with something. How can I do more? He finds the way, and he shows you, yeah, there's a way. You don't have to jump to the skies, just a little bit more. Abyssal is very good. And the Rebbe's sichas, anybody who knows his sichas, if you combine his sichas with his Torah, his sichas chulin. His sichas chulin was Torah. So when you start recognizing all these components together, all of a sudden you feel like you're not alone, first of all. You have someone that's taking responsibility for your spiritual growth, but not just your spiritual growth, your emotional growth, your physical growth, because it's all Tali Haba. We know there's nefesh, ruach, and neshama. Nefesh is the physical, ruach is the spiritual, is the emotional, and neshama is the spiritual. And we're all, I don't know if we're all, I think we should all say in awareness, we all are sick in every component. Every component. We need physical strength, and we need emotional strength, and we need spiritual strength. And the Rebbe starts from a spiritual place, but he gets to your emotions, and he gets to your physicality. He gets everywhere. He gets into your kishkes. So anyway, this is the platform of going inside. I wanted to say a story before. A few weeks ago, about a month ago, so I started a platform of learning Likutei Moharan Chabura. We started it on, I have a bunch of Koil Erev that learn Likutei Moharan Chabura. And we started also a social media platform of, being Mayfits, because this is, I told you, these are prescriptions and remedies to life's challenges. And it talks to everybody, and it's growing, Baruch Hashem. So I got a phone call, and I'm not trying to chas v'sholom toot my horn here in any way. I'm just saying it to say how you could see the Rebbe here, and to understand from the story how he's directly talking to you. So I get a call from somebody. He says, "Hello, Nachman Fried. Yeah, it's Erev Shabbos." He says, "Tell me something. This is the Nachman Fried." I said, "What do you mean the Nachman Fried?" He says, "You don't recognize my voice?" I said, "No." He says, "I'm not telling you who I am. I'm first going to tell you the story." He says, "A few months ago, I got interested in learning Likutei Moharan, and I went on YouTube, and I heard this mashpia and this mashpia, and I couldn't connect. But the algorithm of the YouTube kept popping up every day. Likutei Moharan. Once you search something on YouTube, it keeps bringing up the things that you're searching for. And yesterday, a video of you popped up, and I know you. And I was very curious. I didn't know who this guy is. He says, "I know who you are," and I had to listen. And it was 58 minutes. He says, "I never listened to a 58-minute shiur in my life. But you talked, the way you gave over the Likutei Moharan, it talked to me. So I just called you to say thank you." I said, "Okay, gewaldig, thank you." This is not the story, obviously. "Who are you?" He tells me, "My name is Eliyahu Hirsch." I said, "Eliyahu Hirsch, of course I remember you. When I was a teenager, I was friends with him, and we had a kufa where we were close. And then I went to Eretz Yisrael, and I lost contact with him. Haven't spoken to this guy in 35 years. So he says, "Tell me something. Do you remember when we were friends, we start reminiscing, what's going on? How many kids do you have? We started." He says to me, "Do you remember that I came to your house for Shabbos when we were friends?" I said, "Yeah, sure, I remember." He says, "You remember your father?" I said, "Yeah, sure." But he says, "Your father was pumping Breslov to me. I was a Litvak from Canarsie. He said the words Harry Litvak from Canarsie. And your father was I didn't even know what he was talking about, Reb Nachman. I didn't know what he's talking about." He says, "And then you came to me for Shabbos. I came to your house for Shabbos, you came to me for Shabbos. You remember what you brought me as a gift for Shabbos?" I said, "No." He says, "You brought me a Likutei Moharan." I said, "Okay, you know something? I don't think I was in the space then to bring a Likutei Moharan. It must have been my father. You came to me for Shabbos. My father told me, when you go to him, bring him a Likutei Moharan." He says, "You know what we did with the Likutei Moharan? You know the Shemesh shelf that everybody has on the bottom? It went directly into the Shemesh shelf." I said, "Okay, nice story. What are you saying with this?" He said, 10 years later, that means this is a Maisa of 35, 36 years ago. 10 years later, my father started changing. He started talking differently. And then he started becoming Chassidish, put on a Beketcher, and he started being positive. My father wasn't always that positive. All of a sudden, he's talking differently. We didn't chop what's going on, but we all got married. All the kids got married. We moved out of the house. 4 years ago, or 5 years ago, when Corona came, my father got sick. And before he went to the hospital, they said he called all of us together. He didn't know what's going to be with him. And he called all of us together. He says, "My kinderlich, I want you to know, you're probably wondering what happened that changed my life." He said, "I heard a vart from Reb Nachman, and I found out that Reb Nachman is the author of the Sefer Likutei Moharan, and I remembered that your friend came for a Shabbos and brought a Likutei Moharan to my house." And I told you the story? Yeah. So he brought the Likutei Moharan to my house, and then I opened the Sefer Likutei Moharan, and I just want to tell you that this sefer was as if it was written to me, as if Reb Nachman wrote it, Lekavod Eliezer Hirsch, that was his name, Lekavod Eliezer Hirsch. So he said, I forgot, and then my father passed away in Corona. And I forgot about this whole thing. A couple of months ago, I reminded myself that my father said I should look into Likutei Moharan. So I went onto YouTube and nothing spoke to me. So now I'm asking you, he lives in Lakewood, he's asking me if I could learn with him Likutei Moharan. So what I'm trying to bring out from, that's the story. What I'm trying to bring out from the story is that if you open your heart and you let go and surrender, you're going to find, I'm not saying you're going to find it today, because today, I don't know, the Rebbe has his ways. They asked me to say, not the Torah that we're learning right, I'm learning a different Torah right now. They asked me to start Likutei Moharan from the beginning. So we're going to start Likutei Moharan. This was just an introduction to trying to get you to understand, perhaps, if you open space. Some people obviously started learning Likutei Moharan, some people know already, but for those who don't know, open the space and let the Rebbe in, and I promise you, it's life-changing. So we're going to start in before the first Torah in Likutei Moharan. There's a little small piece here, and that's what we're going to do today. And Be'ezus Hashem Yisbarach, this kashrus to the Rebbe, with me opening space and opening my heart to the Rebbe. Hopefully we will be able to, so I'm going into, this is what they asked for, so I'm going into, I didn't look at this beforehand, I've learned it before, but we're going to try to go in, and we're going to try also a little bit to be medayik in the Rebbe's words, to go a little bit deeper, but first let's hear the whole concept, and then we'll ask some questions, and perhaps say a nice drush on it, but not really teaching it, because I didn't prepare for it. So I'm apologizing in advance, but I hope Be'ezus Hashem Yisbarach, it will still be something that you'll be able to walk away with something from this. L'chu chazu mifalois Hashem. This is right before Torah Aleph. It's on the bottom, and it's negeya, by the way, to the whole thing is about Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, who is the author of the Sefer Hazayah, and it's the platform to Likutei Moharan. It's Mamish, Reb Nosson put it in the beginning, and it's the only thing which is a question. Every Torah, the way Reb Nosson organized the Torahs in the Likutei Moharan, every Torah has a number attached to Torah Aleph, Torah Beis, Torah Gimel, Torah, and it goes throughout, and there are two chalakim of the Likutei Moharan. This doesn't have a number. There's no number to this Torah, which could mean, perhaps, that this is the platform to every single Torah in Likutei Moharan. So let's try to go into it and learn it. L'chu chazu mifalois Hashem. Come and see the works of the Eibishter, his galus nifla, a tremendous, wondrous revelation, misoid gedula satana aloiki, from the secrets of the greatness of the godly Tana, Reb Shimon ben Yochai Zal. Reb Shimon ben Yochai, Zog the Heilige Rebbe. Reb Shimon ben Yochai iftiach shalei tishtakach Torah miYisrael al yadai. Reb Shimon ben Yochai was maftiach that Torah will not be forgotten from Klal Yisrael al yadai, through him. Kamuva b'divrei Rabbi Scheiner zechrein levacha, like it's brought down, Chazal bring down in Gemara and Shabbos, Daf Kuf Lamed Ches Amud Beis. Keshenichnesu Rabbi Scheiner leKerem b'Yavne. When this is after the Churban Beis Hamikdash, so one of the Yavne was saved. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai went and he saved Yavne. He made a deal with the general, and one of the deals was that he saved Yavne was the place of the Talmidei Chacham. After the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, all the Chacham that were left came into the city of Yavne. The Gemara says they sat in a kerem. A kerem is a vineyard. And a vineyard is shaped, rounded. They sat in a semicircle. Kerem b'Yavne. And what did they say? They saw the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. Amru asida Torah shetishtachach b'Yisrael. We see that Torah will be forgotten from Klal Yisrael. V'amar Reb Shimon bar Yochai sheloi tishtakach. And Reb Shimon bar Yochai said, no, Torah will not be forgotten from Klal Yisrael. Shenema, there's a pasuk, ki lo yishokach mipi zarei. A pasuk in Devarim that says, Torah will not be forgotten from Klal Yisrael. It will not be forgotten from the children. Ukamavur b'Zohar, and like it's brought down in the Sefer HaZohar, b'hai chibura de'iu Sefer HaZohar, yifkun be'megalusa. The Zohar Kodesh, that the author of the Zohar Kodesh was Reb Shimon bar Yochai, he wrote that through the chibur, the Sefer HaZohar, the chibur of Sefer HaZohar, that's going to take us out of Golus. So the Rebbe is taking these two, one Chazal and one from the Zohar. The Chazal is that there was a machlokes between Chachamim and Reb Shimon bar Yochai. The Chachamim, all the Chachamim got together and they said Torah is going to be forgotten from Klal Yisrael. Reb Shimon bar Yochai got up and he said, no, Torah will not be forgotten from Klal Yisrael. There's a hemshich to this. If you learn the Gemara goes, there was a back and forth. The Chachamim said, they also brought a pasuk. The pasuk, Hine Yomim Boim Num Hashem, Vishlachti Rov Ba'aretz, Lo Rov Lalechem Lo Yitzam Alamayim, Ki Im Lishmoyas Dvar Hashem. So the Gemara says, you see that they're not going to be hungry for food, they're not going to be thirsty for drinks, only Lishmoyas Dvar Hashem. So if they want to hear Lishmoyas Dvar Hashem, that means that Torah is going to be forgotten because they don't know. Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai answered them, no, ki lo yishokach mipi zarei. So we need to understand this machlokes. What's the machlokes? There's a pasuk in Devarim. The Chacham didn't know the pasuk in Devarim. So the Gemara asked the question, and the Gemara answers, they knew ki lo yishokach mipi zarei, but they thought it would only mean Mikra and Mishnah. But Torah Shebal Peh will be forgotten from Klal Yisrael. And Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai said, no, not only will Torah Shebiksav be remembered, but even Torah Shebal Peh won't be forgotten from Klal Yisrael. And he said that and he brought the pasuk Ki lo yishokach mipi zarei to prove his point. But the Rebbe says, but in the Sefer HaZohar it says that through my Sefer we're going to go out of Golus. So the Rebbe is being makasher the two things now. Now come and see the wondrous secrets that there is in the Torah. Why did Reb Shimon bar Yochai, what was he saying more than the Chacham? He was soymech on this pasuk, Ki lo yishokach mipi zarei, Ki be'emes bezeh pasuk be'atzmai merumez v'nista soid hazeh. Because in this pasuk is merumez, there's a remez. Listen to the words that the Rebbe is saying. Every word is meduyik. V'nister, and it's hidden, this secret, shal yedei zarei shel Yochai, shehu Reb Shimon bar Yochai, that through the children of Yochai, who is the child of Yochai? Reb Shimon bar Yochai. Al yodai lo tishtakach Torah miYisrael. That through him, that's how Klal Yisrael, he's going to save Torah. The Rebbe is taking the fact that the Reb Shimon wrote that Sefer HaZohar Yifkin by Megalusa, that through Sefer HaZohar, through Sisrei Torah, that's how we're going to go out of Golus. So now that's why Reb Shimon in Torah's Nigla, when he was fighting with the Chacham, he was able to say that he's going to save Klal Yisrael, and that's the haftacha that the Rebbe starts off, and he says Reb Shimon bar Yochai yiftiach, because he wasn't maftiach. There's no lashon in the Gemara that he was maftiach, but the Rebbe is saying that he was maftiach. So we need, which needs a beer also. So, but the Rebbe, first let's hear the words that the Rebbe is saying. He's saying that he was soymech on this pasuk, that ki lo yishokach mipi zarei, that through the zarei of Yochai, which is Reb Shimon bar Yochai, that's what's going to save Torah. Ki soifei tevis shel zeh pasuk, the last letter of this pasuk, ki lo yishokach mipi zarei. If you look at the soifei tevis, it's Yud Ches Aleph Vav Yud, which is Heim Oisis Yochai. So the Sefer Tevis of this pasuk is the Oisius of Yochai. So now when you touch the pasuk, Ki lo yishokach mipi zarei, which zarei are we talking about? The zarei of Yochai. And this is what the pasuk is telling us. The Rebbe is telling us that it's not just a nice shalashudas Torah here. I'm not just saying a nice little remez here. Oh, by the way, it's so Mina Shemayim that he took this pasuk. No, he took this pasuk because he was taking responsibility. Like we spoke before, he was saying, "I'm going to take responsibility here. That Klal Yisrael will not, Torah will not be, none of the Torah will be forgotten from Klal Yisrael." From his zarei, from the children, from the person shehu merumas v'nista b'zeh pasuk, that's merumas and hidden in this pasuk shehu hatana yochai. Kayidei zarei shel yochai shemerumas b'zeh pasuk b'soif tevis kanal shehu rashbi ayodoi lo yishokach Torah ki b'zor do yifka megalusa. Sounds like the Rebbe is being very repetitive here, but we're not going to have the time to go into all the diukim over here. But he's not being, there's no repetitiveness, another thing you have to know about Likutei Moharan is every word, the Rebbe said, every word that he wrote was b'mida u'b'mishkal, which means it was measured and weighed. That means there's no word here that's stam repetitious. Every word here has a diuk, and every word, even if we don't know what it is, but we believe that every single word has a message here. And sometimes we're zoicha, sometimes we're not zoicha to the messages. And even when we're zoicha, we're only zoicha according to our level, because you can take it into more deeper level. There's no ein soif to the levels of depth that there is in every single word in this Torah. So in review, the Rebbe is telling us, saying, you know what? This machlokes that there was after Churban Beis HaMikdash, this is after Churban Bayis Sheni, between Chachamim and Reb Shimon, really, it's not just that they were, is Torah going to be forgotten? Is Torah, Reb Shimon said, no, Reb Shimon took responsibility. Because he said that through Sisrei Torah, that he was Megal, which is Sefer HaZorah, so therefore it's Merumiz in the Pasuk, which is the Pasuk that he used to say that no, Torah will not be forgotten. So Memela have emunah that Torah will never be forgotten from Klal Yisrael. V'da, I just want to finish the Torah. Shesoid Reb Shimon ba'atzmai hu Merumaz b'Pasuk acha, because l'chayra there's a murdig kasha here. The question is, first question is, if Reb Shimon was maftiach and the whole pasuk is kilois yishokim and pizarei, so why does it say Yechai? Why doesn't it say Reb Shimon? And the Rebbe, not only that, the Rebbe is telling you, but Reb Shimon, this is the soy that zarei shel Yechai. But Reb Shimon is merumas in a different pasuk. But Dash is soy Reb Shimon ba'atzmei merumas in pasuk gacha kida ki atana kodesh Reb Shimon u'bechinas ir v'kadosh min Shemaya noches. There is a pasuk in Daniel that the pasuk says, it's talking about a malach that is ir v'kadosh. He's holy and lofty malach min Shemaya noches, that came down from Shemayim, and the Rosh Tevis of that is Shimon. So now we learned the Torah. Sounds like, okay, beautiful, nice thing that Reb Shimon saved Klal Yisrael, saved Torah of Klal Yisrael. And if it was Lag Ba'omer right now, it would be a murder Torah to learn for Lag Ba'omer. And of course it's relevant to me, but what's the real relevance here? Well, how do I really connect to this? How do I connect to this? What does it mean to me? And really, this is the whole akdama that I gave before about learning Likutei Moharan is in this thing. And then I'll say a shtickle Jewish. I don't know how much time are we? Where's Binyamin?
11. They said 11.
Oh, really? Till 11?
11 or 11:30. That might have 9:45.
Oh, so then we could really keep, okay.
20 minutes.
It's 20 more minutes? Okay, so hopefully we'll Be'ez Hashem.
I try.
We'll try. I hear you. No. I just want to know. I want to gauge myself. So I want to. So this needs to. So first we need to know how to connect to it. But before we do that, let's understand how can we understand what's going on in this Torah a little bit, as we say, dumb it down a little bit. So I heard once from Rabbi Yaakov Meir Shechter, I never heard it from him, but I heard b'shem that he said a mashal to understand what happened here. What's happening here? What's the mashal? The mashal is that you have a guy that's standing on top of a 10-story building, and he's saying, I'm going to jump. I'm jumping. And the crowd is underneath the gathering. The crowd is coming, and they say, Yoish, this guy's going to he's on the ledge. Look, he's mamish on the ledge. He's going to jump. And everybody knows that the second he jumps and he hits the ground, there's no way he's making it. It's 10 stories, 20 stories, probably less than that. There's no way. There's no way he's making it. Comes along an acrobat, a real athlete, okay, that knows how to, with a trampoline, and a heavy trampoline, and he's running, and he runs, and he says, I'm going to save him, I'm going to save him, I'm going to save him. And as the guy jumps, he jumps off the roof. The guy comes with the trampoline, and he gets right underneath him, and the guy falls down on the trampoline instead of hitting the ground. And he jumps up and down, backing up, and he saves him. He said, that's what happened over here. Asida Torah shetishtachach mi Yisrael. After Churban Beis Hamikdash, we didn't have a bias. We didn't. The Kohanim, the Tzaddikim were destroyed. There was no chance for Klal Yisrael that Torah will not be forgotten from Klal Yisrael. Came along Reb Shimon, this Tana Loiki. There's not many Tanas that are called Tana Loiki, and for sure there's no Tana that has more tefillas by his kaver than Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. There's no Tana, there's no kaver in the world that has more tefillas than Reb Shimon Bar Yochai's kaver. So there's something major happening with this Tana that's for Klal Yisrael. So what is it? He took responsibility. He took responsibility for you and you and you and me and every single Yid in the world. Because without Torah we have nothing. He took responsibility. And this tzaddik took responsibility. So how is it negayah to me? It's not just a shtickle Torah that he saved, Torah for Klal Yisrael. Without Torah, I wouldn't be where I am, or I can't even have any chance of getting to where I need to go to. So he took responsibility for each and every Yiddish soul from his time ad soif kol hadoros. So now, 1 second. Now, it's talking to me. Well, everybody, is this shtickle Torah talking to me? So, Memela, what? This is the platform of opening up. The Rebbe, the Rebbe said it, or is it just a Reb Nachman, a gematria? They say Reb Nachman befega, Reb Nachman simcha is gematria Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. And there are many sichas that the Rebbe was by Reb Shimon one night, and the Rebbe continued Reb Shimon's responsibility, and that they say the haftacha that the Rebbe gave is the same haftacha Reb Shimon gave it, that Torah will not be nishtakach. But in this ikvus of the Mashiach mamish in our time, we needed a place to know, because we go through so distant from spirituality, and we're living in a time with such exposure of physicality and materialistic exposure that they didn't have then, that now we needed to bring the Torah down even lower from a higher place, even lower, so that it could be talking to us. So therefore, this is by the way, my disclaimer is, I'm not saying Pshat and Likutei Moharan. I don't know Pshat and Likutei Moharan. I'm saying the Pshat, the way the Rebbe is talking to me. The way I see this, why Reb Nassim put this as the entry to the whole Likutei Moharan, is to understand that we're talking about the same Moshe Rabbeinu, the same Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, the same Reb Baal Shem Tov, Arizal, Baal Shem Tov, and the same Reb Nachman. And this is the entry to every single Torah in Likutei Moharan, to understand that I'm learning a Torah of a tzaddik that took responsibility for me. That's one thing. Now let's go a little bit into the drush of the Torah. I think that's the main thing. This is, by the way, I'm done, because that's the main message here. The message here is to understand that before I open the Sefer, I need to know that I'm dealing with a tzaddik that took responsibility for me, that takes responsibility for me, and that guides me. And then you'll see it. There's no question that you'll see it in every single Torah. You'll be able to see how he takes responsibility. But now let's go a little bit. Let's talk like in the Litvish yeshivas. Let's talk. What's going on here? First question we asked before is, if it's Reb Shimon that took responsibility, it should have been Seifet Tevis, Rosh Tevis of Shimon. What's the vart that it's Zara Shal Yochai? What's in the Zara Shal Yochai? And then the Rebbe brings another. Why is the Rebbe telling me that Reb Shimon is another? Let's say we don't have that kasha. Why did the Rebbe come and tell us at the end, by the way, I want you to know Reb Shimon is in another pasuk, like he's trying to be nice to Reb Shimon? What's going on? So I heard many years ago, I heard beautiful shtickle Torah, and I want to share it. And I think that if it's something stamped, it's more of a drush. It's not. I'm not trying to say taich, but it's beautiful. And perhaps, but I heard it from my uncle Rabbi Yitzchak Koenig, very chashuv yid, and he said it, and I want to share it with you. So the Gemara says in Shabbos, I think in the late Pays in Masechta Shabbos, the Gemara says that when Moshe Rabbeinu went up, Sha'ala Moshe Lamarim, he went up to the Malachim, said to Moshe Rabbeinu, Mali Yiludisha Beinenu, what is a human being doing between us? So Moshe Rabbeinu answered them, "L'kabel is a Torah basi." I'm not saying the lashon. Don't quote me. L'kabel is a Torah basi. I came to be mekabel Torah. So the Malachim answered him, "Asher tano hoidcha al Shemayim." The pasuk says, "Hoidcha is the Torah, and hoidcha belongs in Shemayim." So and Moshe Rabbeinu didn't answer them. So they asked. The Rebbeinu Shalom says, "Hechzalem tshuva." Answer him. So Moshe Rabbeinu said, "I'm afraid Shemi Yisrafuni behevel piyim. The malachim are they're gonna burn me with the hevel piyim by the." So the Rebbeinu said, "Echois bekisei kvoidi." Hold on to the kisei hakovid, vehechzalem tshuva, and answer them. And Moshe Rabbeinu went through every one of the Aseres HaDibros and said, "Prove to them that that Torah belongs in this world and Torah doesn't belong in the other world." One of the Aseres HaDibros is Kabed es avicha v'simecha. So Moshe said to the Malachim, "Do you have a father or mother? You don't have a father or mother. So how could you say that Torah belongs in Shemayim? You don't have a father or mother." So a raya that Torah belongs to them, and he won. And the Rebbeinu and Lamaisa, the Torah was given, and Moshe Rabbeinu brought down the Torah, and that's the Gemara. So who was this Malach? Who was these Malachim that Moshe Rabbeinu was dealing with? He wasn't dealing with, this, we say every day, V'Ifanim, V'Chayos, V'Srofim, V'Chayos HaKodesh. There's all different levels of Malachim. And then there is the highest Malach. We don't say his name, but there's Mem Tes, and if everybody says it, anybody who davens Nusach Sfard, by the Tkiyas, in between the Tkiyas, there's a little Yehiratzon, Shatkiyas, Tara, Tada, Yala, Derech, Mem Tes, Malach, Mem Tes, Hamemuna, that's the highest Malach. The Gemara says that Arba Nichnasu Lepardes, 4 Tanoim went into Gan Eden. Rabbi Kiva, Ben Zayma, Ben Azai, and Acher, Elisha ben Avua. And they went into Paradise, and the Gemara says they saw this malach, and Ben Azai, I don't remember which one, Ben Azai or Ben Zayma, one of them went crazy, and one of them died, and Acher became Apikoros, and the Gemara says Rabbi Kiva, Nichnas b'shalom v'yatza b'shalom. What did they see? They saw this malach, and they said they can't be. They went into such a high. It can't be higher than this. So Acher said, "Shtei reshuyos." There must be 2 Rebbeinu Shloms, 2 creators. So that's where he came down to Kvira. Ben Azai said, "It's so big," or I don't remember which one it was. Ben Azai or Ben Zoyma said it's so big, and he died. Ben Zoyma, he had no kalim. His head couldn't. He lost it. The Gemara says I think that he went crazy. And Rabbi Kiva was the only one that was nichnas b'shalom v'yatza b'shalom. I'm just trying to say that this malach was the malach that Moshe Rabbeinu was having this confrontation with. And that Moshe Rabbeinu, so he said, perhaps we could say that this malach was Reb Shimon. That Moshe Rabbeinu saw that there's going to come a time after Churban Beis HaMikdash that Torah is going to be nishtakach miYisrael, that I see the Torah, and the only way to save Torah is for this malach to come down. And that let's learn the Gemara again. And he says, Mali Yilud Isha Beineinu. What is the Yilud Isha doing between us? So he answered them, the Kabbalah Torah Basi, that that Moshe Rabbeinu was telling this malach, I came to be Makabel the Torah, and in order for the Torah to have a kiyum, there's going to come a time I need you, this malach matat mem tes tes, I need you to be able to come down as a Yilud Isha. So malach answered him, Ashetna hoidcha ala shamayim. Hoidcha belongs in Shamayim. Who's Hoid? Who's represented by Hoid? Anybody know Lag Ba'omer? We go through the spheres, the 7 spheres. Lag Ba'omer, what's the sphere of Lag Ba'omer? Hoid Shabahoid. Ashetna Hoidcha ala Shamayim. The Malach answered Moshe Rabbeinu, no, Hoidcha, I belong in Shamayim. So Moshe Rabbeinu told him, Kabi de Savicha v'Simecha, Klum yesh lecha av v'ein. Do you have a father and mother? And that's how he was menatseach, that Malach Matat should come down into this world in the form of this Tana Eloiki. That's why he's called a Tana Eloiki, a godly Tana, because this Malach should come into this world as this Tana Eloiki to save Torah. So Memela, it's moiridig now. That the Rebbe says, Ki loisi shokach mi pizaroi. The reason why it had to be Zarei Shal Yachoi, because he had to be a Yiludisha. Ki loisi shokach mi pizaroi. In order for this to be able to save Torah, he had to be a Yiludisha. And it's also moiridig that the Rebbe says now that Reb Shimon is merumas in a different pasuk. Ir v'kadosh min Shemai Nochas. What's Ir v'kadosh min Shemai Nochas talking about? It's talking about a malach, this holy, lofty malach that comes down min Shemai Nochas, that had to come down from Shemayim into this world. And Memela, now we could understand that this malach, this Reb Shimon, which is a malach, he took responsibility for all of us. And Memela, that he gives us the ability to know that even we do what we do, even when we're limited and we don't get to where we need to get to, that we can have hope and do tshuva from it, and B, that we can explore and try to grow and not give up on our ability to get more and more connected to Rebbeinu Shalom through the Likutei Torah, and befrat the Sisrei Torah, because the Sisrei Torah is the path to go in. And nobody should say, well, Kabbalah, Sisrei Torah doesn't own Evada, it's Kabbalah. But Sisrei Torah means that there's a pneumius to Torah. It's not just a shtickle Torah that I say over a nice Stiras Rambam, and I say over a nice, beautiful thing, which is also Torah. It's not to be diminished. But there's deeper messages that are relevant to me personally in my path and how I can grow in my journey of my life and my challenges of my life and how I can grow. I want to add one more thing. In the Bar Yochais, by the way, one of the Bar Yochais, it says, Nase Adam Nema Bavurecha. So if you look in Rashi, when Rashi says, Nase Adam, let's make man, who is Hashem talking to? Rashi says he was talking to the Malach. The Medrash says, which Malach was he talking to? Malach Matat. So in the Bar Yochais, you see it's merumas, Nase Adam, Nema Bavurecha. When I made man, it was made for you because you're going to save Klal Yisrael and you're going to take out Klal Yisrael. So I know that it's not like Boima. So the apropos time, but this is what Binyamin said, start from the beginning. And the real truth is, now that I realize I need this for myself, because this is the place, this is the platform to going into the Primis HaTorah. This is the platform that we need to know. I'm going into the Sefer not because I want to see, let me see what does Reb Nachman say on Parshas Vayakel. And you go into the Mafteach in the back and you say Vayakel. Torah Tzadik Tes. Let me go to Torah Tzadik. No. It's not organized Lefi Parshas. Why? Why did Reb Nachman not organize? Because it's not about, it's not, I'm not Chas V'Shalom being mezalzel in it. That's also beautiful. Look, I do it also. You want to see what does the Rebbe say in this week's parasha, especially if you have to speak by Sheva Brachas, and you want to talk about Reb Nachman, you want to look at what the Rebbe said. I'm not Chas V'Shalom dismissing it, discounting it in any way. But what I'm saying is, it's not the way to learn Likutei Moharan. Likutei Moharan is a sefer that you want to learn because you want to connect. And you want to understand that the way to connect, like my father said, the Likutei Moharan in one word is tzaddik. What does it mean, tzaddik? With many tzaddik? No. We're talking about tzaddik that took responsibility for me. The tzaddik that's coming with the trampoline because I'm on the ledge and I'm about to fall, and when I hit that ground, it's over. That tzaddik that saves me. That's what we're talking about. So Memela, I wish that this shiur will grow Be'ez Hashem, and that and hopefully this will be a Pesach and a Siftach for even the ones who are challenged. You know, it's Thursday night. Let me go. Okay, I'll go to a shiur. No, I'm going to look forward. I can't wait to be talking with this side. If it's a once a week or once a day, I suggest once a day. But this is a tzaddik that talks to you. He talks to you, and he took responsibility for you. And when you go in with that place, he's not in. The Rebbe said beferish. There's a sikha that he said, "Vos artes mir." I don't know if I'm saying it exactly. My brother will correct me. Vos artes mir as jenet benchen bechavona and that nishwissen as for me. What does it bother me that someone is going to bench bechavana and he's not going to know that the reason why he's benching bechavana is because I inspired him to be? The Rebbe is not looking for credit. He's not looking, I need to. He wants us, he cares about us, and he wants us to connect to the Rebbeinu Shalom and to better our lives. And he gives us the remedies of fixing everything that we did wrong in our lives, and the hope and the courage and the strength to be able to change our lives. And with this, Be'ez Hashem, I wish that this shiur grows and that we learn Likutei Moharan. I'd love to be part of it as a spectator too, and not just as I don't know why I was called, but when the magic words are, when my sister just made a chasnit last night, the Eifruf, my brother-in-law came over to me Friday night, said, "Can you please speak?" And I said, "I'm not feeling it." And I don't like, I like talking Likutei Moharan. Shabbos morning, he comes over to me again, he says, "Can you please speak?" I said, "Sorry, but I'm not feeling it." Shalashudis, the chassan comes over to me that his friends want to hear something for Reb Nachman. 3 seconds later, I didn't need an introduction. I popped up and I started talking. Why? Because when it comes to talk about my Savior, this person who's mamish saving my life every minute, how could I not? Binyamin called me. You think I just came back from my show yesterday? I had a wedding I wasn't in the mood. How could I not? I hope that all of you will come to the same place, because Torah is about lishmoya, lilmoid ulelamed. The Gemara says, Torah's chesed is called loimed amenas lelamed. This is not just for us to learn. This is for us to learn and give over to our wives, to our children, to anyone we meet. Ashreinu.